Hello, I am Jackie O. Welcome to the Earth Mama Living podcast. Are you awake? I am Jackie O with Earth Mama Living. I helped connect you to your body so that you're able to move through blocks that have held you back from achieving optimal health and life pursuits using energetic healing, movement, sound, tarot, nutrition, journaling, and art therapies. Open up your mind about food and cooking, mental wellness, body movement, and holistic home living. And by the way, if you don't already have a crystal near you right now, pause this and come back. I will be working with you and your crystals today. It's so exciting. I'm recording in Phoenix, Arizona. Please tell your friends, share, and heart this episode, and let's grow together. Find me on my blog on earthmamaliving.com, Facebook, Instagram, Earth Mama Living Official, YouTube, and Rumble. In today's show, I'm going to talk about my views on crystals and actually 6 tips for getting started with your stones and any crystals that you have. And also to give you a calming list and direction for how you can talk to your crystals and get to know them better. Before I get into today, I would like to give you my best words of advice about gathering information from anywhere. Please read and listen to information you find here and anywhere with discernment. And what I mean is, look things up on your own to confirm what you need to know and understand. Feel free to ask me questions. Not everyone has the whole truth, but when I look through and see multiple sources that contain similar or exact information, and it resonates with me, then I sit with that until further or different knowledge is found. Does that make sense? Awesome. Here is my core belief. In all that I do, I believe in challenging the status quo. I believe in trusting our bodies to heal themselves. The way I challenge the status quo is by teaching clean living by what we eat, what we allow around us, and all that supports our bodies to heal themselves. I'm going to give you some guided questions for you to work with your crystals today or any day. Since we're always practicing connecting and being in our bodies as it relates to the earth and to our higher selves, this is a perfect way to connect with the crystals, stones, and other type of precious material that you have. Be sure to save this podcast for later. So, let's begin. Why don't we? This is directly connected and information from my blog that I posted back in December, which is not that long ago, on December 17th. So, I'm going to give you first 6 tips for getting started with your stones and crystals. And as I mentioned before, a reminder, if you do have crystals and stones, go ahead and pause that and go get them if you don't have them with you. You can also be wearing them as well. I have many precious stones and crystals that I have that have been made into jewelry. So the first tip, I've always had a fascination for the beauty of crystals, and I always wondered how the earth could make such a perfect geometric piece of art, and I wondered how long it would take to create them and didn't give them much more credit than beauty. So the first tip is paying attention to them in general. Number 2, mostly while growing up, it was about having jewelry that had semi-precious stones or even precious stones but in smaller sizes. My mom loved them. She bought many pieces that I still own today, especially that I acquired towards the end of her life. She sent me a multitude of gorgeous, sparkly objects of art. So, how about thinking about this tip is about what have you accumulated over your life and from other people, and what do they already have meaning to you other than the fact that they're just beautiful? All right, tip number 3. Who knew that crystals actually are healers themselves, that they emit light when you strike them, or that they scientifically are proven to amplify energy? So, just simply knowing this, hold this in your heart, that these are healers and magnifiers for that which is around them. If you're using tuning forks, for example, it's a great way to amplify what you're already doing with the tuning forks, or any other type of sound baths and sound work. Music, of course, as well. So, number 4, my tip is that my recommendation is that everyone should have crystals about them. You should all have them. You should have several. You could just have as many as you would like to have around you. There really is not too many crystals. I don't think I've ever seen anybody that had too many crystals, to be totally honest. All right, so tip number 5 is I suggest walking through the crystal store first. And this is, of course, when you're next time you're shopping for them, to just get a feeling about all the beauty that is around and all of the wisdom. If you think about it, how long have these been around? So think about the pressure that they've been put under. Think about minerals and other content that these crystals have endured over the long times they've been around on this planet. So if you would like recommendations, I would suggest getting clear quartz first, like these, for example. So they offer generalized and clear type of healing work that encompasses everything. They're general crystals that have great power in themselves. All right, my last tip is spend time getting to know and hang out with your crystals every day. It will definitely help you to get to know them. So if you don't always get to spend time with them, then you will miss out. But today's podcast is exactly about doing that, and some really good questions that you can address your crystals. Like hold them, take one and hold it in your hand. And I suggest that while these questions are being posed to you as suggestions for you, that you look at each side of the crystal, that you look through it. You can hold it up to light and just relax your mind and meditate just simply by being quiet with that stone. So are you ready to listen to some questions that you can ask your crystals? Okay, and these are some that I generated myself or came to me for this podcast specifically. So let's start with, where are you from? And you can ask the question of the crystal, and you can also certainly look online and go type in your question, like, all right, clear quartz. Where is clear quartz generally mined from and or rock hounded from? So if you ask online, you can get some good ideas that way. As far as general ideas where a particular stone comes from, for example, like cobalt specifically comes from Africa, and I don't remember the exact place that it was from, but I do know that the mines were supposedly closed to getting cobalt from there because of it being mined too much, which is good. They're protecting the stones themselves. So, all right, so then how far from the Earth's surface did you evolve? In other words, how deep did the whoever it was that mined this particular specimen, how far away from the surface did this exact crystal come from? So again, another question you can ask is, did it take long to grow in this shape? And how long, what size did you start with? Is this crystal a part of a massive cluster of crystals? Probably. And if you think about it, just putting your mind to meditating on the stone, you might get, with practice, lots of information about this particular stone. You can also think about it like it had a family, that this crystal was in a massive cluster of crystals and was removed from that area. And you can start thinking about the fact that you can start relating to the stone itself. What about, was there extreme heat? What about extreme cold? And if you're just thinking about, did this stone come from a long, long lineage of the metamorphosis of the animals, the flora and the fauna of what Earth looked like back when it was being created? It's just when you think about it, who knows how long ago this particular crystal was beginning to take shape, so that it would come to me holding it today. And typically when I think about things like that, then I get a sense of great honor and feeling, very lucky and having a lot of gratitude for having possession of this stone, this piece of earth. So then, what about, did you sense light and darkness? Did the sun shine through to you from where you evolved on the earth? So, was there a lot of other stone on top of this crystal? Was it buried in dirt? Was it buried with a bunch of other crystals? This exact crystal itself? Did it poke through and be exposed to the elements, and how long? What about what about, how do you feel if I were to name you? Or do you already have a name? And an exact situation that happened with me was, if you've heard my other podcasts, I've talked about the amethyst crystal structure that I bought is a massive 11 kilogram amethyst cluster that I acquired just in the last couple of months. And immediately when I saw this cluster of amethyst, I knew that its name was Magnifica, which of course in Italian means magnificent. And so I just decided. So every time I walk by her and I give it a feminine quality, I say her name and I give her my honor for gratitude, especially for being in my space, and I'm very grateful for her. And this beautiful crystal and the energy that comes from it is magnified through my whole apartment. And I tried actually having it in the bedroom and I could not sleep. I tried. And for weeks, I could not go to sleep till about 2 or 3 in the morning, and it was really frustrating. But I thought, maybe there's some credence to this. I will try. I will move the crystal, and I moved it all the way on the other side of the apartment so that it actually faces the whole rest of the apartment. And I felt this sense of calm with me, but also it felt like the crystal was happier. It was like it could, who knows? But that is what I picked up from movement of the crystal, that it felt like it was in its appropriate spot now. And so immediately I was able to sleep through the night. It's been wonderful. So actually, there you go. So, all right. So then you can also give it, like I do, if you're working with this particular stone in your hand, you can thank the crystal for being in your life and telling it, talking to it, literally with our language, saying that you are so beautiful. And I do believe that it reflects back to us the love and attention that we give to the stones, and you are improving your own life and reflecting back love. It's fantastic. So I encourage you to do that. So you could also talk about what I like about you, this crystal. How about talk about its physicality? How many sides does it have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this one has 5 sides, and it is a laser shape of crystal. And this bottom part, for example, I noticed that this probably was where it grew from, and this is where it was broken off to, and then be its own unique piece of laser crystal. Discover all the different sides. Touch with your hand and feel where there are broken parts, where are there broken chips, for example. There are also parts of a crystal, they call them phantoms, and it's basically the word for when there is a crack that goes through the crystal, and it creates a really cool visual effect as you look through the crystal. And especially when you hold it up to light, if it's got a phantom, you could actually, there are people that spend time to do type of readings for others, and we call that scrying. And then you can connect to source, you can connect and receive information either for yourself or any other person or animal, that which you are asking questions about. Pretty cool. So I like to use those type of cracks or phantoms in the crystal for that type of work. Then I suggest holding up your crystal to the sunshine. Or you could also, like I have a lamp here, you can look through the crystal and look at the lamp. And of course, be careful looking at the sun. Be careful, please, to not look directly at the sun, but to get diffused light, that kind of thing. I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. Please don't look directly at the sunlight. That would burn your eyeballs. Don't do that. So look, and you actually might discover that there are more cracks or phantoms than you even realized with just looking at it in your home, that you actually can see more details by looking with sunshine coming through. So another really great question is, how can you help me? How can you assist me? How can working with you empower the work that I do? Another question you could ask is, do you want to stay in a particular room in my place? Will you support my work while I write or study or anything that you're doing? If you have a crystal in your kitchen, for example, for cooking, pretty much opening up your heart to asking the crystal, how can you assist me? And also, by the other questions that we've asked the crystal, how can we assist the crystal in being happy and feeling like it's in the right place in our home or wherever else we take the crystal. You could take them in your car. You can, my sound healing teacher talked about how he taped crystals under all his chairs, and he put them behind pictures, just put them in places to help support all of the things in his life. It's so fascinating. I love hearing about people's stories, especially healers, and how they've come about and transformed their life into where they are today. So, all right. So, how about, here's the other thing too, and this goes along with one of the tips I talked about. Are asking the question, are you a healing stone for just me? Or can I use it for doing healing work on my family members? Or Are these perfect stones for healing my clients? If you're a healer, you can ask the stone if this is for clients or if this is just for me. It's just, I think that it will, these kind of answers, they'll come to you right away when you start getting practice with your stones and asking them what they're all about. So, for example, also, what about healing for my cats or my dogs or my birds or whatever companions you have at home? Ask them what will support them best. You can also ask, which one of you help me support and protect my hermit crabs? Can I place you by their aquarium tank? Are they good for them? Do they support them to help them feel more at home? And they're not in on the beaches anymore. So I often think about them missing their original home. So also, one thing you can also do, and I, of course, as I mentioned with my amethyst, I caution you on this, but ask them and say, I would like to place a few of you below my bed to support my sleep. Who is the best candidate for that? Great question. A couple stones that I've used for absorbing negative energies and grounding me are either dark, deep red stones or black stones to help absorb um, negative energies. So, what I suggest to you is going to, when you go to the crystal stores, they often have the descriptions of what each stone means and how they are best used in your location, wherever it is or however it is that you would like to use them. So I would also like to ask you now, how was that? Were you able to take some of these questions and save this podcast so that you can remember what you can ask your crystals and how you can sit with them and just study them and allow them to speak to you and give you information about how they can support you and how you can support them to be in your life and to give them a really great place. A lot of, by the way, too, another thing that comes to me when it comes to certain stones is when I use certain stones in sessions, um, the stone now wants to go with that person. That stone is like homework for them. That this stone now really wants to go with that client and assist in their healing journey beyond the session that was with me. It's really cool because I'll just look at this stone and go, you're done with me. And I'll give the stone to the client. And I'm looking forward to doing more of that. So definitely send me a direct message whatever platform it is that you hear this or are seeing this, either video or audio, and let me know, because this is the type of work that I'm going to be doing and I am doing currently. So again, thank you for being here. And I really enjoy talking to you all through my podcast and my video. And I welcome your comments and your experience around the topics that we talked about today and how you work with your crystals. I before this year, I have not spent this much time learning about crystals and their healing powers and the things that I could do with them. I was not, I had to learn some and I really had to spend some time with them to feel it. And I am really super excited for the rest of my journeys with this. So, blessed souls out there, I send you my love and I wish you the best of energy healing. And I tell you namaste as well. Have a beautiful day. Sending much peace and love. Take care.